What is up, guys? Today we will be doing the iPhone 13 Pro versus the iPhone 10 here. So you guys know the iPhone 10 is still my number one budget iPhone pick. So I do think this phone is still extremely good. And then we have the new 13 Pro here. And I know there is going to be a ton of people thinking about, well, should I upgrade this year? You probably skipped out on the 12 Pro. And let's go ahead and discuss sort of what we're working with here. So with the iPhone 10, you can pick up a refurbished one for around $300. I have that link down below. 13 Pro is going to cost you $1,000. So as far as the hardware goes, you can see they're kind of, different looking phones here. I do like a lot of the stuff about the Pro's hardware as far as this matte finish. I really do like that. It picks up 0 fingerprints, which is awesome. Both of these phones are full glass and metal devices here. You can see we have a big difference with the camera modules here. You can see we got these big cameras on the 13 Pro here. And honestly, the iPhone 10 still looks very sleek, very clean looking phone. So I don't think it looks like an outdated flagship. I think it still looks very, very good. And also this silver color is just really awesome as well. If you do a little size comparison, you can see the iPhone 13 Pro is it's going to be bigger, more thicker, and then it's going to be heavier as well. But you can see we got our power buttons on the right side. Left side, same thing. We have our volume rockers, mute vibration switch on here. Stereo speakers are on both of these guys as well. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the display. So with the iPhone 10, you have the Super Retina OLED display, HDR10 Dolby Vision at 5.8 inches, so it's slightly smaller than the 6.1 inch display on the 13 Pro. It is 1125 by 2436. 458 for the PPI. The 13 Pro has, again, the Super Retina XDR OLED display at 120 Hz, which we will talk about. And it's again, 6.1 inch, 1170 by 2532, 460 for the PPI. You also have a 20% smaller notch on the 13 Pro, if you could tell here. Basically, I'm looking at them, I've been looking at them for at least 2 days side by side. Color wise and resolution wise, I can't really tell the difference as far as just playing games, looking at icons and everything. There's no difference, so you won't notice any difference as far as color or anything like that, at least as far as I can tell, just from a normal person's perspective. If I was really trying to look super hard, but if you're just looking at them straight on, it's you can't really tell the difference. Now here's the thing, a lot of people have been asking about this dynamic refresh rate on the iPhone 13 here, and basically a lot of people want to know, Matt, is it really noticeable? And I will say, to the average person, no, it is not going to be noticeable. Like on Android, when you came from 60 Hz to 120 Hz or 144 Hz, it was noticeable right off the bat. Since iOS was always kind of smooth, it's not going to be super noticeable. So the only time I really notice the high refresh rate, or I really notice the difference, is when I'm doing something. Not even when I'm doing this. Like if I'm just scrolling, I can't really notice the difference, right? But if I bounce back and do that, I can kind of notice the difference. And let's say on Instagram, I'm scrolling, then I kind of notice the difference a little bit more here. It's not slow on the 10, but this feels like buttery smooth. But as far as the whole navigating the home screen, yeah, you can kind of tell the difference. But like I said, I think you would be able to tell the difference more if it was 144 Hertz. But man, I have to give to iOS just for being so smooth. I think I didn't have an appreciation for how smooth it was on these older phones. So 120 Hertz, yes, if you're a display nerd, you're gonna notice it, but you're gonna have to really pay attention. You're gonna be like, man, is 120 Hertz on? But yeah, so I don't think the 120 Hertz is a deal breaker or a massive upgrade. I think for normal people, if you're a smartphone geek, of course you're gonna appreciate that. Alright, both of these phones are running iOS 15 on them. The iPhone 10 has the Apple A11 chip, and then you have no SD card support, 64 gigs of internal storage, and 3 gigs of RAM. The 13 is running the Apple A15 chip, no SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage, and 6 gigs of RAM. So you do get more storage this year on the 13 series, which is finally about time. And you have more RAM as well. As far as speed, we are not going to notice a massive difference with speed here. I will go ahead and show you the benchmark scores and stuff like that. Where you will notice the differences is with gaming performance. If you are a gamer, this will be a good upgrade for you. But as far as your Geekbench scores here, these are the scores that I got here. So you can see you're getting a nice benchmark jump here. Here's your Antutu scores here. Now, if you're going to launch applications and stuff like that, here's what we're working with here. So I don't think it's going to be a massive difference. But yeah, will you see a difference in speed when launching applications? Yes. Is it going to be something that is super noticeable? I don't think so. You can see they're basically still tied when it comes to launching, you know, just your social media applications, YouTube, stuff like that. When it comes to games, yeah, you will notice, you know, a second or two difference here. And also the iPhone 13 Pro will be able to keep more applications and in memory as well. You guys can see that. So again, not a huge difference. And remember, iPhone 10 came out in 2017. It's still fast. It's still able to keep up. Yes, it's not going to be as fast, but still fast enough. Now, what I want to show you guys is gaming performance. If you are a gamer and you're like, man, I really want to play PUBG at, you know, better graphics, at, you know, a higher FPS, then the 13 Pro is going to be very good for that. We're going to see that we get much better graphics. So if you are a gamer, when Apple does, you know, start updating games with the 120 hertz, PUBG should be getting an update to get that 90 hertz FPS. So I'll let you guys know when that comes out. So we should get that update. It doesn't have it quite yet. I can go to Ultra HD, but we don't have that update to the 90 hertz. All right, just want to show you guys the graphic settings side by side here. So as you can see, 13 extreme, 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 ultra HD, extreme, but only ultra, ultra, no ultra HD. So if you're a hardcore, you know, phone gamer, you will be able to see that difference in terms of, you know, graphic performance there. So if you play games, when Fortnite comes back to the App Store, Call of Duty Mobile, you will be able to see that. So it is going to look good and it's going to run super fast. And again, we are anticipating that PUBG gets that 90 frames option for the 13 as well, which will make it look even smoother. But the iPhone 10 does still play games really great. I have no issues with gaming performance on here. I have a full gaming test, guys. I'm going to be dropping a gaming test for the 13, but I have a full gaming test for the 10 as well. So check that out, please. Both these phones have stereo speakers. Let's go ahead and max out the volume there and see if you can hear a difference here. We'll start off with the 10. Alright, so immediately I can hear a much louder bass on the 13 Pro. I wouldn't necessarily say the 10 or the 13 Pro is louder than the 10, it's just the bass is louder. Yeah, the bass is definitely louder, but as far as the sound, they both sound about the same here. It's just the bass is just booming on the 13 Pro, so it would be technically the better speaker. It does have just a stronger bass here. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the cameras here, starting with the 13 Pro. You have a triple camera setup, 12 megapixel standard, 12 megapixel telephoto, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide 4K 2430 or 60 FPS with a 12 megapixel selfie 4K 25 30 and 60 FPS for the selfie cam. And also, just to point out some of the stuff that the 13 Pro can do that the 10 can't. It's got the cinematic video, which is basically the portrait mode video, and also, like I said, you have the ultra wide and you have a macro mode on the 13 Pro. So if you're into cameras, maybe that will be something that will turn you on to upgrading. With the iPhone 10 here, we just have a dual camera setup on here as well, and I will show you guys some side-by-side photos. You do have a dual camera setup on here. It's a 12 megapixel standard and then a 12 megapixel telephoto, so no ultra wide, 4K video 2430 or 60 FPS, and then a 7 megapixel selfie that shoots in 1080p here. So I'll go ahead and show you guys those side-by-side photos, and then we can kind of talk about some of these stills real quick. Alright, let's talk about those photos. So on the 13 Pro, you can see they both did a great job. So like I said, I thought the photos in daytime were way too close. The only thing I noticed is with like the low light photos, I was like, okay, that's a noticeable difference. And also the selfie cam, I liked way better on the 13 Pro. It got my skin tone right. It wasn't washed out or anything like that. But some of this stuff you can fix with, color correction and editing, stuff like that. But overall, like I said, way too close. Obviously, more detail on the 13 Pro as well. That is something that you will notice. But is it a dramatic difference? It depends. If you take photos, if you just love taking photos, then yes, you're gonna appreciate all the little detail that goes in. But just looking at it, from the naked eye perspective, a casual photo taker, yeah, you're not gonna see, like, it's not gonna be dramatic. You can see that low light kicking in. You see much more detail on the 13 Pro there. But as far as like good lighting photos, daytime photos, it's not gonna be that big of a difference. So like I say, if you're gonna upgrade depending on cameras, just know that if you're not into photos, then I don't think it's an upgrade that's gonna be like, I don't think you're gonna be wowed like that. But like I said, I do like the macro, I do like the having an ultra wide, and I do like the cinematic mode. I thought that was really cool. So again, if I was a camera person, I would think this was a pretty decent upgrade. Alright guys, both of these phones have, like I said, Face ID, and they both pretty much work the same here, if I can get it. Yeah, it doesn't feel like one is faster than the other. They both honestly feel about the same. So you have that on here. You also have Apple Pay with NFC, in case you don't know. And I do want to talk about the battery life, because the battery life on the 13 Pro is freakishly good. And I was not expecting it to be that good, because it's not like they bumped the battery up to a massive size. So I don't know if it's the A15 chip or something like that, but the battery life is really, really good on here. It's averaging like around, it's looking like it's doing like somewhere around, okay, so Mr. Who's a Boss, his battery drain test was like, his stress test was like 7 hours, 45 minutes, something like that for the 13 Pro. And it's really getting around somewhere around that, like that, around that 7-hour screen on time, which is really good. So you have a 2,116 milliamp battery on the 10. You also have wireless charging, 15-watt charging. On the 13 Pro, you have a 3,095 milliamp battery, 20-watt charging, and you also have the MagSafe wireless charging thing on the 13 Pro as well. And then you have the QI magnetic fast charging on here with 7.5 watts. So basically, you will get better battery life on the 13 Pro. So if you're really wanting to get a good battery upgrade, the 13 Pro is really good. But I would say skip the 13 Pro and just get the Pro Max if you have the 10. You will really be blown away with the battery life on that Pro Max. So that is pretty much it, guys. I think the iPhone 13 Pro is a pretty decent upgrade. But again, I don't think it's a necessary upgrade depending on, you know, what you're doing on your phone and what's important to you. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.